right, yogis. So we're going to start in a form of the child pose today. It's a really fantastic shoulder release. Even though the arms are very similar to down dog, it is different because the arms go passive. They're not weight bearing. Okay. So if it's too much, you can just do regular child pose. But if you're feeling good, you take the blocks in front of you. It's basically child pose, but the arms get lifted via the blocks. All right. So I have about 6 inches between my blocks. I rest the elbows on the blocks. And then the head falls in front of the blocks toward the floor. So again, down dog, the arms push down and toward the legs, right? Here, they're being lifted up passively. So you get more of that true passive release. The big version, if you wanted to try it, I'll let you decide, is where I get the elbows closer together, about shoulder width distance, the back of the tricep, elbows on the block, the hands come to prayer, elbows bend, hands toward the back of the neck. That's the big one. Last few breaths. I am starting my breathing, and I'm particularly breathing into the upper underarm. All right, because that's where I'm feeling mostly the tightness, the restriction. All right, I'm going to keep going, yogis. We'll make our way up to tabletop. Maybe just a few cat-cows. If you want to add the wrists, turn the fingers around, face the knees. Any other variation of cat-cows is fine. I'm just thinking about kind of moving the core. I'm drawing a few circles here, a little side to side. I'm going to go right for the down dog today, yogis. You want to kind of get a bigger active position. Down dog gets your inversion started. Starts to stretch out those feet. It's a nice pose here. Gets a lot done. Take a few breaths, feeling it out. Don't forget, if you do down dog with the knees bent, you're going to stretch your lowest ankle, your soleus muscle, your Achilles area. And if you do it with the legs more straight, you're going to stretch up higher in the back of the calf. It's different muscles. So just a reminder there. A few more breaths. Take your time, right? You don't need to do it at my pace or at all this way. Try to just listen to your body. So I was thinking we'll go through some of the fundamentals now down on the chest. So the first asymmetry is the first 3 planes of movement. You get your first forward and back, you get your first side, and then you get your first twisting. All right. So back, these fundamentals, we'll bring it down to the knees. Classic. Grip your right hand, press your left foot down, right leg and left arm. Now there's about 20 variations here. I'm going to keep it simple. Pull the belly in, lengthen and lift. Exhale, round and squeeze. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. A few more, please. This is a classic exercise where you can kind of monitor progress. Are you getting stronger? Is your balance getting better? How's your core? Are you able to straighten your leg better? Are you able to pull the knee in more? Right? So it's a kind of nice exercise just to see where you're at. All right, right leg rises. Keep the right leg lifted. Turn your left foot behind you. Left hand under left shoulder and turn your chest open to the side. So here's that first side body opener. You got the side hips working. Flex the foot, lift it, okay? Pull the belly in. If you want more of a side underarm, top arm might reach forward. Easier is foot down. You're always working on centering the weight, right? Notice if things are kind of hanging forward or back, trying to find the middle, the most efficient stack weight, okay? We'll bring the right knee and the right hand down, no rush getting there. Basically gonna switch sides. It's a warm up, right? Not going for peak strength, left leg, right arm. Inhale, exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, and exhale. Get some nice squeezes in the core. Make sure you're really working on lift. The femur bone is the big leg bone that extends out of the hip. You're lifting that part of your leg up, but also pulling the belly in against it, straightening that knee with the quad muscles. All that is activating really quality. If you're well rested, you're going to be able to activate muscles better. Try to notice that. If you sleep a lot and well, you'll be able to do this more clearly. And if you're under-rested, your muscles don't work quite as well maybe, okay? Now that next part, left leg lifts, right toes turn behind, right arm down, left arm up. And again, there's so many things you can do here. You know, we do core crunches here, we do blinds, we do leg lift. If there's anything else you want to add, that's fine. Lift the leg, pull the ribs in. See how I'm in good Tadasana posture. Long core and spine. I took a little stretch here. And I came back to strength personally today. Okay, we'll take it down when you're done there. And I'm gonna go right into the big thread, the needle. If you want a little bit more, you can throw the right leg back here. Right arm underneath. Inhale, right arm up, open. Now rotate the core. Exhale. Inhale. A lot more is here with the right leg out. Exhale. Inhale. A little more is doing it like this, right leg back here. It's a little awkward though, right? You can do it with this leg also, right? So these are all different versions. Left leg back here is the easier one if you're twisting up to the right. That would be like revolve moon, okay? And to close up the side, maybe just a breath or three and thread the needle. It's a lateral side inversion. Right arm underneath, head and arm rest down. And you just take 2 to 3 breaths. Remember today's class, just a little bit more focus on less straining in the exercise. We don't want to continuously do that every day. And yesterday was a pretty strong class, so was Thursday. So, you know, a little easier, softer mentally, physically today, okay? Second side, you're gonna unwind. Looks like some of you are there already. You're gonna exhale, reach underneath. Inhale, left arm up and open. So this movement represents a back fly and a chest fly. It's really good for posture. So you're kind of moving through the rotation, and the movement is horizontal abduction, adduction, okay? Biggest muscles in the front upper body working, all the muscles that work against it in the back. Remember, we're trying to notice if we round the spine as we rotate, nice long core, chest is almost pulling slightly. It's not like you're not back bending, but it's like you're slightly, if you think spine neutral, you're going just an inch to the back bend, right? Just a subtle posture correction in case you're rounding. After you do 3, 10 of those, you thread the needle and you can hold any variation in the legs, depending on what you're feeling. Okay, and then I was just going to think a short variation of the plank, maybe come down to the wrist. So you did a couple movements, you did your side body hold. So if you come down to you can do push-ups too if you prefer. You could do serratus push-ups. It's like a push-ups, but your scapular push-up. But I was going to begin on the forearms just to give the wrist a breather. Then you tuck the toes and you just hover there, not too long, maybe 30, 45 seconds. Sometimes it's good to do a plank without the big strain in the end, but you get some nice quality muscle contractions through the body. It feels good. It doesn't become painful and a struggle. So think about doing a plank like that. It's almost like a therapeutic plank. We've done a gentle yoga before. Okay, let's take it down to the chest, yogis. And not going for Cobra just yet. I'm going to go for that big other chest opener here. You just did the movement. How about we do the stretch? Right arm out. Another way to do it different is to bend the arm or turn the palm up. That's a nice one. Roll to your right, just 3, 4 breaths today. If you turn the palm up here, yogis, it's quite a different stretch. And we do that one a lot less, all right? We'll come back to center and do our second side. If you need a few extra breaths, you just take your time. It's just a chill class. Some days I'm not going to tell you to try to stick with and push past where it's difficult. It's a little bit more of that kind of make you feel good. But if you're feeling excellent, you might push it on your own. Okay, so there's a practice we do. It's going in and out of Cobra. A lot of times you go Cobra to dog, plank, or you hold Cobra. I kind of want you to do that Cobra Kriya. All right, so I'm going to start demoing. You could stay down here. This is more of your activating. Okay, this is the one I tend to teach more often when we do the Kriya form. Strengthen your back. You can't really overdo that. Now, if you're feeling good, you want to go a little bit more stretchy. I still want activation though, yogis. This is key. You lift, you use your arms, but you try to use your arms minimally. Minimally? Is that a word? Minimally? You lower down with the strength of your back, resisting the falling. Got it? So I'm lifting, I'm using my arms a little to still feel my back. So I'm stretching and strengthening. You get a really nice massage for your abdomen, ribs, and chest too here, and the hip flexor area. So you're going to see all 3 planes here as well. I'm going to hold Cobra last few breaths here. I'm going to kind of peek over my shoulders. I'm wiggling a little, but be careful there. Now there's a posture called side Sphinx or side Cobra. Start in the Sphinx, that means on your forearm. You roll to your left, you turn your left forearm in. It's like you're going to side plank, but you don't lift your hips because it's a stretch. So I'm lengthening through my core here. Now I said this is side Sphinx, right? If you're feeling good, you could always try it. Hand more under shoulder. It's called side Cobra. So as you can see, my right hand's in front of me. and I'm in this big side bend. This is a really big side stretch, okay? We tend to do this body form standing, and you get like tension here. It can't really lengthen well. So we do it like this a lot. So try to feel that for just another breath or two. Just you're lengthening the ribs up, but then you kind of relax down there a little bit by the lower back, okay? I'm also feeling this in the side of my neck. Okay, go slow. I don't want you to hold that too long. That's the deep lower back, okay? Right forearm in, another angle here. And I'm already noticing how much more I feel it on this side. More here. When I really want to stretch out my side body, I do this posture. I don't teach it that much because it's really extreme. If your lower back is tight, it's not used to laterally mobilizing. This is about as big as you can stretch the side waist, the QL here. Okay. Take your time. You're kind of moving at your pace, right? Then you kind of close your eyes and just focus on the breathing. All right, now please take your time. You're going to come back through center. If you want a quick child pose, plank, cobra, up dog, no problem. We're going to come back to down dog. That will be our forward bend to close it up. We did this, that's the side. We did the twist and the chest opener. The cobras were the back, and then the dog is the front shortening. It's that same thing, right? It's the 3 planes of movement. You know, the biomechanics is very clear that we have to really, the fitness has to relook at how it's kind of fundamentally approaching wellness in the body. The 3 planes of movement is one of the most fundamental things to apply when you're picking what you're doing in your exercise. Okay, so you're in the down dog. You take a breath or 3 there. If you want to chaturanga, more than welcome to. I'm just going to skip it for now. All right, so you're back in your dog, just kind of feeling it out. And then you walk your feet to the front of your mat. You take a breath or 3 here, sway side to side. You feel good. You can throw the back of your hands down. We have that elephant posture. The palms flip up and you step on your hands. That's one of the elephants, they say. Okay, so you're stepping on your hands. You know, some of us throwing the hands behind the back or swaying. You know, all the little options here, kind of exploring, crawling your hands side to side. I like to sometimes bend the knees and then straighten them a little bit more so you get a dynamic approach to the legs. Dynamic usually just it's like a fancy way of saying moving. Okay, and then today, bend the knees. We're going to come to chair posture, just a nice quick chair posture, nothing too strong. Think about like a little bit more of a therapeutic approach to chair. Okay, so some days you move up and down, right? Last week we did squat create and I said, okay, how do you want to squat? And I mentioned all these different styles. Today I'm just saying, you know, get into a squatting type position, chair. You could go deep squat if you feel like you need it, but you did child pose. And then, you know, maybe I like to do sometimes I'll kind of like hold chair and I'll like walk a little bit because it's different. You know, we don't do that enough as yogis. And then look, you can feel those. If you hold chair, inner thighs work pretty hard, but as soon as you push side to side, the laterals are working more. Groin hits, groin relaxes. That's a nice one. I also like to do chair like this some days where I'm a little, it's called sagittal, and I'll actually kind of step forward and back. Okay, I'll even move my core a little bit. You see this? It's like your cat-cow when you're circling. That's a cool one, right? You can widen your feet and move your core. We're too stiff in chair pose is my point. So we move up and down a lot. So if you get in here and you're kind of moving that core a little bit more, you mix it up a little bit, okay? Last few moments in there. All right, so we're gonna stand up, you're gonna shake it out a little bit. All of our movements have been pretty stretchy and sticky. So you take a moment to kind of loosen up. You know, the only movement we did like this was cat-cow, just kind of free, shake it out, right? You know, I like stuff like this, even like jogging in place. I did mention we're gonna do a fast twitch class soon. I didn't do one since last fall, and it's where we move a little faster for the first chapter class, okay? Next exercise is the lunge. I'm gonna teach a nice yoga bind, a nice shoulder stretch for the back of the shoulder. Left leg goes back. What do you wanna do? Do you wanna do some moving lunges? Do you wanna go here with the lunge? Do you wanna go to warrior two right now? I'm just gonna hold the lunge nice and simple. I wanna make sure we're doing fundamentals regularly. Eagle. So the left arm is gonna go underneath the right. It's such a, we already did this stretch, right? Where you're opening here. Now you cross the arms and you use the arms to push pull. And it really stretches the back of the shoulder here. Posterior delt, rhomboid, you even get part of your rotator cuff across the outside of the shoulder. So you're here, okay? Or I think I said left under right. You take a couple of big breaths. You just hold those legs sturdy. You can do a little moving with the legs if you want. Kind of make it your lunge. Again, if you're in a group and they say, okay, we're doing a little lunge practice, how you want to do it? There's lateral lunges, there's rotating lunges, pivoting. There's, you know, I'm going to try to give you guys more freedom more and more here. It's kind of like, you know, it's like you've been in training with all the exercise stuff, and then you're starting to apply more, right? You're taking what you learned and just making it more personal and in the moment, right? So not just being told what to do, a little bit of that. So let's step forward and shake it out a little bit. So you did your squat, now you're doing your lunges. So go ahead, right foot back. Some of you are doing warrior two, some of you are doing really, you know, unique different things. That's awesome. I did the eagle, right arm under left. You get the big two shoulder stretches. We're gonna do all three today. We're gonna do Gomukasana too. So you did your chest opener, your cross, and then you're gonna do the up and under. Okay. So get a lunge in. I want to try to give you about a minute here. It's almost like a plank. You're just holding that lunge, doing some breathing, or you're adding some variety. When you don't have weights for your legs, say you don't want to go back to the gym, it's too expensive or whatever's going on. One of the easiest ways to really strengthen your legs is lunges. Squats are great, but it's double symmetrical weight that the legs stay straight under you, so there's less weight. In lunge, they go forward and back, right? If we're doing core and the legs go really forward, it's lever weight. It makes the legs feel heavier. And it's the same in lunge. You'll probably get faster burn in lunge than you would doing air squats versus air lunges. You'll probably fatigue faster in lunge. So say you're just walking in the morning, you could do some lunges. They don't have to be deep, but you're feeling good. You go a little deeper, you kind of tap the back knee. That's a really fantastic way to just strengthen your legs without weights. All right. So just remember that, you know, when people didn't have weights all COVID, my one private, I kept telling her to do lunges, like go for lunges. And walk uphill is the other most practical thing, up and down hills or stairs. All right, so you're done with your lunges. How about we just get done with our hinges now? Right through the fundamentals. Lunge usually actually comes after hinge, but I'm gonna do the one-legged hinge. Now, many ways to do it. And I'm gonna teach you that kind of fundamental fitness way. So if you're with a trainer, they might have you grab a very light weight in your left hand, and you inhale, tap the weight under the shoulder in front of the right foot, exhale. Inhale, exhale. If you have a light weight, you can do it, you know, 2 or 3 pounds does change it a lot.
On a good day, I do want you to start doing that. You keep your little dumbbells or kettlebells near you, your bands, and you add those things in. That's how you make it your own, yogis. Especially if you're, you need some strength. You got to add some weight bearing exercise to the yoga routine. It's basically Warrior 3 with a slight movement into revolve. It's almost like I revolve slightly. Got it? A lot of times I'll have you go up here. We do that more. So I take you through like a full range because you hit the butt. But we're going to do bridges in a moment anyway, so you don't need to go there as much. The other version they have you do, yogis, because we're in hinge time, the right hand would grab, you bend the knee, and it's like half moon. Right? It's the same stuff. The yogis knew it. Half moon, Tadasana. Okay? So let me give you another minute and a half to work your hinges. Oh, you're not feeling great today? No problem. In gentle, you go here. It's double leg. Same thing, okay? Make sure you focus on your weaker side. This is something I cannot express enough. By now, you hopefully know which leg is maybe a little weaker, which leg is weaker at balance. My right leg is pretty much strong. It's funny, my left leg can actually hip flex better because the back line is not as tight. So that means my hip thrust of my right's stronger. And my right hip flexor it's resisted more by the glute. Remember their term, muscle resistance. Muscles fight against each other. A tight, strong muscle won't let the antagonist work as well. All right. So try to notice these imbalances about your body. This self-understanding is an important part of what we're trying to develop, not just getting stronger. Last few moments here. I can only see 2 years. So yeah, Leslie, eventually they do that on the wobble board too, right? You can do it on both feet or not. It's kind of like doing it on the beach, right? You stand on the sand, one foot goes, so you're on the wobble board. They usually have you do it on a Bosu ball. I don't know if anyone has one of those, but that's basically the same. So you're here, and then you're trying to do this. Right? Eventually you're doing that. It's a little bit more like advanced athletic training, kind of, right? And then they do it on the one leg too. All right, yogis. So I want to do that nice big standing twist. We need the big rotation in the legs now. Squats, the legs don't rotate. Lunges, they don't. Hinges, they don't. So I want to get the big rotation. Think of it like our second chair. And I want to get the fast twitch core. Got to move that core fast some days, right? So I'm going to meet you here. Bend those knees, turn the feet out. It's called Ganesha Mudra, C-clamp in fitness, where you take the palms, the fingers together, and you create like a little C, like a hook. Now my left palm is forward, so I'm going to inhale left. That's how you remember it. Inhale, exhale. So make sure there's a slight tuck of the tailbone. The belly is pulling in, so you don't want to like arch your back. Those two things, tuck tailbone, belly in, bend the knees. Don't let the knees buckle in. Press the outer edge of the feet down. And you're inhaling left, exhaling right. It doesn't have to be too fast, just a little faster than anything we've done. I want a lot of contraction and work in the core, okay? Inhale left, exhale right. First kind of faster breathing too, right? A lot of times people do like bicycles for fast core or mountain climbers and plank. All right, so take a moment. You're gonna get a nice stretch after this, guys. Straighten your legs, shake your arms out. And then your right palm goes forward. You're here. Remember, shoulders down a little bit so you're not here, okay? And then you're gonna inhale right. Usually like whatever palm, as long as you have a system to remember. So the way I do it is if my right palm is right, I inhale right. So like it's right palm right.
Then you kind of close your eyes and try to feel all those muscles working in the rotational core. Okay, it doesn't have to be a deep range of motion, doesn't have to be too fast. You work towards that maybe one day, right? Now, do you turn the head? Maybe some days you keep the head straight, right? Look. Or I tend to keep my head straight. It makes me feel a little dizzy or something when I move the head too fast like that. So now we're gonna do, that's pretty good. Let's not make it too strenuous. You're gonna straighten your legs, turn your toes in, bend the knees, start to forward fold. So it's the straddle forward fold. And I want you to kind of explore if you want to crawl your hands over to a foot. If you want to do a headstand, this would be a good time, or a handstand. If you want to do a skandasana, remember that's kind of like a one-legged squat where you bend, let's say your right knee, turn your right toes out. Your butt's going to come lower down towards your right heel. It's a good time to do that. If you're gonna, don't forget that can be like our triangle and/or side angle. And you can do other things if you want, right? No problem. This is all just a suggestion. Okay, and if you're doing something on one side, make sure you start to switch it up. Nice. Oh, Skanda Kriya. That's a good one. I did that yesterday in my really strong class. 20 rounds of the full range up down Skanda Kriya. That'll get you. So no rush, yogis. We're going to make our way up to standing. I want to do just one static balance. This closes up all standing exercise today. So easiest is tree. If you want to try something, this is a hip opener. Remember, this is classified as a beginner pose in yoga because the hip's not flexed. If you're ever going to start lotus, easier would be something like this. It's kind of similar. But if you want to try it, I'm grabbing the left ankle. I pull the heel up. It's like tree. I got to keep the knee joint closed. Right hand grabs outer top left foot. Now that left foot is in the front of my right thigh. This is called standing half lotus. You're going to get release here that you're really not going to find in any other place. And I don't teach this enough, okay? I lift the right heel, the left heel up the front of the right thigh, and the right hand grabs the left foot. Now the knee opens. It's a really big ankle release as well. Now I start to lift the core. I'm holding the foot, letting the knee open, okay? And then you breathe here. With practice, you're going to be able to push the foot so strong into the thigh. I started doing this pose, 15 years ago. So I make this push look pretty easy. But because if the foot slides, you want to hold the foot. All right. Last few breaths. Eventually we hinge here, we squat here, we do a lot of different things there. It's funny. I've asked the question, what's the first yoga pose? Anyone? It's called Padmasana. It's lotus because it's a meditation position. It's the one where they wrap the legs. I don't really force that anymore. I used to push that a lot, but then I was learning the anatomy. And when you're trying to get into the second leg lotus, it's so easy to irritate the knee, the ankle, the hip. It's just not really worth it probably for the average person. So I don't force the double lotus. If you want to start lotus, it's right here. It's not seated, okay? So shake that leg out. Can we do a standing balance? More challenging here, you could do tree and lift your heel. You could do toe balance. You could do any other of the tons of balances we've done. Feet stacked, if you have a wobble board. One solid go at balance. I've also kind of stopped forcing splits, just any jamming my hips into ranges. There's just no reason anymore. I did it then who knows, maybe I'll come back to it. But for now, I'm flexible enough and I'm working on strength. And for years, I did so much yoga and didn't do much cardio. And so I'm getting a little bit back into that as well. I've told you I've started to run upstairs and even go for jogs. And it's really outside my comfort zone now. So that's why it's really good. Kind of all the yoga can be kind of easy for me. So that's really why. So just, just some food for thought about your practice, your patterns. It's kind of like people who just lift weights or play sports. It'd be so good for them to just commit to yoga for a few years, and they would change and learn so much about themselves. You stop learning about yourself when you do the same sport or athleticism, physical activity for so long. Trying something new is key. So looks like some of you are done. Okay, I want to make it back down on the ground. So however you want to do it, if you want to do a sun salutation, I am going to have you do just a couple like chaturangas. I'm going to take a yogi squat personally. I feel like I need that. It was a super long day at work yesterday, so I'm just going to get to that yogi squat again. All right, and then you step back to plank. We'll meet wherever you are. And like I said, maybe a few chaturangas now. So you get the inhale high plank. This might be the space to do a few push-ups. Remember I showed these Hindu push-ups or shoulder push-ups? I also showed the tricep push-up with the hands in, the diamond more under the chest. So how about we have a few moments in this space? Easier is knees, chest, chin. Easiest is child pose to plank on your knees, bend the elbows a little, and then it's kind of like Cobra on your knees. So that's a really nice way. It's basically child pose to Cobra. I do that in the gentle class. All right. And I want to remind you that when I teach too much strong exercise, the little angel on my left shoulder is always like, Robert, you're not being wise about it. The little devil is on the right. He's like, no, go more, push him harder always, right? We want a balance of the two. Remember, if your goal is longevity, to feel good longer, the longevity specialist, it's very clear that they do moderate exercise. It's not the Arnold Schwarzeneggers and the triathletes that live to be 90, 100. It's people with moderate exercise. Okay, it's not people who sit on the couch all the time either. It's in the middle. All right. So I do want to take time to do our strong bridge work today. We need the glute thrust. This is also another exercise. If you had to pick a handful of therapeutics on the floor exercise, I wouldn't put it on the top 10 because it's not compound, right? I wouldn't put it on the top 10 because the top 10 should be probably on your feet. But if we're thinking therapeutics and isolation, it's on the top 10, all right, easily. So we're gonna just go right to it, guys. We're gonna swing around. If you wanna do up tables, if you wanna do reverse plank, locust can kind of all fit in this space, but I'm gonna do one-legged bridge for the group. If you wanna do two-legged bridge, it's easier. One-legged hip thrust is the big one for the one-leggeds, okay? So I'm gonna go right to it, and I wanna get a few rounds in today. We haven't been doing really enough bridge. So I'm just gonna bring you right to it. When you're done with your front body, right? That's the plank, that's the push-ups, all front. Now we're gonna go back body. So bridge, laying, you guys all know it. One-legged if you have it. Now, like I said, do I move up and down? Do I hold? Do I pulse? The answer is all of it. I would go up and down a few times. Then I would kind of hold. Then I would pulse. And then I might go down halfway and back up. And then I might go down a quarter of the way. I am trying to be as well-rounded as possible, not stuck in a small pattern. If you're feeling super fantastic, you do the sliding bridge. Because I'm going to give you another like 2 minutes to really go at it. You do a round, take a little rest, do a round. You get 2 to 3 rounds in here of the bridge work. Nice little figure 4 bridge. That's a good one too. You can do one-legged bridge with block between your thighs. It's just a little bit more funky. Your right leg is like more, say you hover the right leg up. Usually you'd keep the thighs parallel and the right leg would go forward, the right lower leg, instead of going up to the sky, right? So you can do still block. And I like to do bands. I mentioned those, $5 on Amazon, I think, right? It's like, let's call it a large rubber band. And there you get 5 of them, light to very resisted. And you put them around your thighs here. So it's just one of the best, least expensive investments to get, and you can use them and bring them anywhere. And you got to train yourself to use those more. You can bring them on your morning walk, quickly throw them around your thighs and just do a couple lateral walks or back walks, and boom, you're stabilizing the hips in a really nice way. And this is one of my favorite spaces to use them for bridge or hip thrust, because you get glute medius and glute max then. Which glute is weaker? Mine is the left. And that's why I said earlier, my left hip flexor is better. I can lift my left knee higher standing up. Looking good. I can see 2 of you, and you guys are both doing your thing. So I'm going to keep letting you go here. Got about another minute and a half. I do want to do one like ab exercise after this. We did pretty good on twists, right? We did 3 or 4, and then did pretty good on laterals. Not too much today, but again, you can add anything you want. See, that's the thing. It's like you're learning to add the 3 planes, but then I get too obsessed with like how balanced can I make the 3 planes, but really it should be what's your weakest plane and less developed in movement. The lateral or the side to side is probably the most sensitive on most people, most likely to incur soreness, deep soreness, and injury. Some people it's going to be twist, and you can't just be too critical about it. You just do your best, and as long as you're getting some twists, some lateral movements, some asymmetricals, some open chains, balance, some people call it, you're doing good. You're getting some fast twitch too, right? A little bit of fast twitch today, a little bit of moving that body faster. You're getting some statics, you're getting some dynamics. These are all fundamental principles now of how people are creating exercise routines, like trainers and teachers. Okay, so listen, guys, you're doing your back body. You did your front body. It was quads, maybe a little abs, but a lot of like front, chest, and shoulders. That was the chaturangas, the push-ups. Now you go for the middle abs, and it is the lat tension and the hip flexor tension. So it's kind of nice to go with the plank work. I'm just going to do the dead bug. If you want to do any other abs, that's fine. I'm going to keep it easy because I'm not teaching any gentle yoga anymore online, right? I teach a ton of them live in person. I have about 8, 9 a week, but I don't have them on Zoom. So this is the gentle strengthener. Right leg, left arm. You did this in the beginning, kind of, right? Left leg, right arm. You want a little bit more, both legs and arms. But the key is to keep the lower back down. Same thing. Do I hold? Yes. Do I move? Maybe even like a little pulse. So get the abs firing, one solid round here. So I did mention you might want to strap, yogis. Just to be clear, we're going to use that next. All right, so you did your forward bend, back bend, forward bend. And now let's start. I'm going to keep moving here, yogis. Strength is done.
We will rock forward and back. You can take happy baby, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do the Gomukasana. You did straddle. You're good there. And a lot of us did like the figure 4, the lotus. So that's all done, right? I'm going to do that Gomukasana. It's a very classic yoga stretch. Right heel goes outside the left knee, and the left heel swings around. Notice my right sit bone is not on top of my heel. I'm trying to get the right sit bone inside the foot, okay? Then this is the thing people do. They keep the sole of this front foot down. See that? Watch. Outer edge of foot down. Pull the knees back. Stack the knees more, okay? Now, the first part here is to get the big hip stretch. Then you go forward and you breathe. Hands maybe on the floor. If you did want to try it, you grab your strap. Left hand goes up behind it. Remember in the beginning, first pose, we did that block stretch in child pose where the arm got pulled back. Now you add on, right arm out, palm face behind you. Reach down behind the lower middle back, grab the strap, okay? There's your third big arm bind today. Hug your elbows in, lift the heart, and forward fold. Just a few breaths today, please.
You're coming back into your breathing. And this is a nice stretch because it's bilateral, which you kind of get both hips twice. A little different each time, but it's a really nice one. Kind of underdone, right, in the average stretch routine. So let's slowly shake that out. And it's quite simple. You're just going to switch sides. Left heel outside right knee. Right heel swings left. So cross. So sometimes people make the error. They put the left knee outside the right knee here, but then the right foot goes around to the right. The right foot goes to the left. Because your left foot goes to the right, your right foot goes to the left. That's how you remember it. They cross and go opposites, okay? And you try to get your sit bones down because you don't want to be in this big lateral tilt sitting on the heel. The outer edge of the feet are down, being pulled back. The knees will start to ankle forward. So if this is Sukhasana, people sit like this, cross-shinned. This is Gomukasana more, right? You're like that. So the knees stack facing forward. The feet are back by the hips more, okay? Then you sit up, you forward fold. If you're doing the arms, it'd be the right arm up here. We do it both ways. Sometimes we do left arm up on this side, but we'll do it the first version here, the right arm up. There's also nice, Leslie. There's the straight leg version too. All you would do is,
it's actually called Ardha Gomukasana. It's half Gomukasana. It's just this. One leg stays straight. And I'm here, and I'm trying to still stack the knees, and then I go forward, okay? All right, yogis, so I want you to finish up your Gomukasana. Listen, we got time for one more hip stretch. I'm going to choose to do the quad. Maybe you want to do a hamstring stretch, a half splits, this. I'm going to do a restful twist after this. So you don't need to do a twist. I'm going to do that, the Ardha Virasana. Right knee bends, outside right, the right heel outside right hip, knees closer, right sit bone down, and then you lean back. Just a few breaths today, please. If you always do double leg pose here, it's good to do the single leg, it's different. I often say, find days to do lighter variations of stretches, and I'm doing it right now. You know I can lay back here, but I can feel a little stretch, and it's good today. Okay, I feel a little release, so I'm going to switch sides. That tends to be how I stretch, right? There's no one telling me how long to hold it when I'm stretching. So I'm just kind of tuning in, feeling how I need it, and applying. So yogis, I did mention a bolster, and this is when you would need it if you wanted to do the final twist. We're going to do this as a group. I'm going to lead you into meditation, and then I got to head to my other class, okay? So you're going to finish up the front body stretch. That was our front body stretch. Did the outer body and the arms. Now we go for the big rotational core release. So the bolster's behind me, right? You see it about 6 inches between my hips and the bolster. My feet are nice and wide. I drop the knees over to the right. That's nice because it rotates the hips. You get the medial here. Then I turn to the back, lay my chest, and my abdomen is on the bolster. Do you see this? The bolster's not here, guys. It's not just under the head. It's supporting my body. Easier if I turn to the right, my right ear is on the mat. Stronger, left ear is on the mat. The left thigh is going to want to come forward here. Do you see this? It's going to want to go like that. This is restorative yoga, like basics here. But actually in this one, that top left thigh goes back. So your legs aren't in a chair, they're in a lunge. Last few breaths here. Eventually you do want to let the legs relax too, right? Try to notice if you're holding tension here. And when you're ready, take your time, you'll switch sides. Sitting up, legs are, I didn't say it, but they're wider than my mat slightly. Knees knock left, I'm kind of pivoting, adjusting, and then I lay back on the bolster. Right thigh behind me. It's a really big neck release. It's kind of awkward and achy at first, but you gotta kind of like play with the neck, the chin, the bolster to get it comfortable a little bit. It's just a little confusing if you're new to it. It's called the Kundalini Twist. All right, yogis. So you finish up your final twist. And then you start to head to your meditation. And remember, I like to suggest some days working on more active styles of meditation. If you're not feeling too busy-minded, right? Busy-minded day, busy weekend, it's probably Shavasana, passive meditation. You don't want to get into meditation and be too busy. You just did a lot, you're working, you're focusing, and then you're going to be working, focusing more. So some days you just go passive, you rest, you take a quick, what do they say? You hold the position until it's like you first notice you're almost asleep and then you're done, right? Or you do the gratitude meditation. I always say gratitude meditation is prayer. Or you do the chanting, visualizing, intention setting. You could even do, we've done things like stare at a candle flame. That's one of my favorites. I do sun gazing, but you might not want to go there. So you do the candle gaze. Okay, it's called Agni or Chakat, fire cleanse. So you can do just breathing too, like alternate nostril, Kriya breathing. We've done all those in the meditation classes. Okay, so you're going to pick your meditation style. You're going to set up. And then you're just going to go on your own. Okay, you know what to do here. Try to stay longer if you can.
And I appreciate you guys showing up, working hard. I'll be here Tuesday for Yoga Core. Namaste, yogis.